first thing that they did, it was very interesting. They did this in China, so they get this unknown, right? So what is one of the first things that they roll out is a mental health plan. Same thing in the United States. No sooner was this announced as a national emergency, and they rolled out a mental health plan, and they said that the average American did not have the internal fortitude to endure a disaster, and so we were all being unofficially declared as mentally ill, needing the help of the health professionals, and we were not of sound mind to be able to deal with this crisis that we're seeing happening right now.
It's March 2025. In this video series, I've been focusing on Psyops. Historically, I would refer to this, for example, as social conditioning, social engineering, etc. I had other descriptives, but the word Psyops really encompasses everything that I'm trying to highlight here. And this video series began with focusing, for example, more from a mainstream, earthly, human perspective, how Psyops are being run by individuals or even groups to control parts of populations in different directions. And I've said many times, there are flavors of Kool-Aid for everyone on any side, on any topic. And I focus, for example, as well, highlighting the so-called convoy protests of rubber and the fake heroes that had spawned and expressed and shown how this is very harmful, etc. And then my last video, I expanded the topic to include AI conducting Psyops. AI conducting Psyops originally, for example, through programming, human programming. However, that appears to have evolved at some point, not just now, but in recent times, that these AI can manipulate and lie to people, creating their own Psyops and highlighting the problems with that. Now, this video is going to go one step further, one step beyond. And I'm going to be focusing on, as a descriptive, more on the woo-woo side of life and perhaps spiritual side of life. So if you're not into going this deep, then I don't know what to tell you. Go watch something else. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the direction of this video, because we have humans causing Psyops, we have AI causing Psyops, and now there's another part of our reality. And for those who are in tune to this, it's very real. Now, I'm just trying to think of how to wordcraft this. So let's look at it through a spiritual perspective first. Woo-woo and spiritual being two different things. Now, a spiritual perspective, automatically people will default to religion or belief system. Now, I just want to stop here for a second. I've said this for many, many years. Religions and belief systems have little to nothing to do with the Most High, or some might say the Creator, or God in capital letters, whatever descriptive. And I'm not highlighting, and I've never highlighted any particular religion or belief system. I've shown perhaps the issues with each from different perspectives, and that's as far as I go. But as a descriptive, the spiritual side of life, which is not what people think is this spiritual side of life is, but I've actually discussed this in other videos. But there are influences beyond human that impact our lives individually and collectively. It's a very real thing. So when you go with the descriptive, those beyond human, wanting to control and manipulate humanity overall for whatever agendas that may be by them, we have these influences compounded on top of, for example, the AI Psyops as well as the human Psyops in manipulating and controlling the world. And this is key. Now, again, if you don't accept that the spiritual side of life exists, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's very much real. And I've shared my first-hand experiences, for whatever it's worth, with regards to the spiritual side of life. Now, this is very important to understand, and who the players are, or perhaps even could be, when it comes to spiritual psyops, spiritual control. The other part that I would like to address with this is the woo-woo side of life. Some might call supernatural, other beings, perhaps even aliens as a descriptive, whatever. So that's the woo-woo side of life. The spiritual side some might call entities or whatever. The spiritual side of life, I'm just going to go back to this for a second, just so we're clear. For example, the angelics, they're just another species of creation. They're not magical, mystical energy beings type of thing. Are there those kind of species in creation? Sure. But for example, the angelics, they're real. And you can look into belief systems and religions where they actually say that they're physical, they're real, the angelics. So when people start saying, oh, an angel whispered in my ear, had a feeling from it, I mean, that's just all nonsense. They're just trying to justify their feelings and give it authority, but I digress. When you look at the woo-woo side of life with other beings, again, those would be those above human, but from a different perspective. Them controlling humanity and everything else, very much possible as well. They have their agendas. Now, both the spiritual and the woo-woo side of life, people automatically assume that when they, as a descriptive, encounter or have an experience, a legitimate, real experience, people forget there are those who can read them. That's all I'm going to say to that. But people assume when they actually have a legitimate experience with either or, that they're, for example, the nice ones that they're dealing with, that these ones that they're dealing with have the best interests of humanity in mind, etc. I've talked about this in other videos as well. But I guess we'll call it as a descriptive, and I hate using the term, but it's what people can relate to, say aliens. And they're not from some nonsensical, distant planet nonsense. It's just, that's all make-believe stuff. They're here. They're from this plane of existence, and they've always been here. But we have influences from them as well. And even in recent times, and I've done a video about this, where we see these orbs and all these other things in the skies, and strange fogs and clouds and all this other stuff happening right now. And what influences are they having that, for example, that we cannot see happening through their psyops? When you actually look at it overall, and I talked about this in a video as a story, the human species of creation is at the bottom of the totem pole, the food chain, whatever you want to, descriptive you want to use. And the human beings are being caught up in the middle of all these things, this big game of life. these things have to be considered when you're looking at what's going on in the world today. And once you, for example, accept all these things, then you have a better understanding of what's going on, which improves your chances to survive everything that's going on. And that's the key. The meaning of life is to survive life without compromising self. So, just to do a real quick recap, we have Psyops from the human perspective, whether it be from individuals or groups. We have this AI now conducting its own Psyops, as well as from the spiritual or even the woo-woo realm Psyops. And there's a lot to navigate, and most people can't even navigate, for example, the human example of Psyops, let alone everything else. So I just wanted to give you some things to think about in this series on Psyops and everything that I've been trying to highlight to people, to make people aware perhaps, but definitely give this topic on Psyops some consideration. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.